I'd like to see the credentials right now.
You insist?
If you're watching this video, I think that everybody who's watching should just go ahead and just like all together now just say, all wrong, all wrong, all wrong. Yes, that's right. They have brought in Matthew McConaughey to virtue signal on this issue. Now, somebody in the comment section is going to say, well, Matthew McConaughey is an Uvalde citizen or an Uvalde native. That's not the reason why Matthew McConaughey is being brought in. And don't worry, we will discuss the 10 rhinos who are about to sell us the hell out on 2 very key issues. By the way, it was 7 things in this bill. Now it's 2. Before we get started, though, guys, there will be a video from Langley Outdoors Academy. He's another very good YouTuber who has been ahead of this from the very, very start. And I'll also be releasing a video from Guns and Gadgets, another channel I go to all the time to get some additional Second Amendment news. And at the same time, to go on top of this right here, guys, I need to go ahead and kind of explain why it is that I think this bill will fail. But we will get to that here very shortly. First, McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey is being brought in for one reason and one reason only. You know, you guys are thinking virtue signaling, but that's not the real reason why. You see, Democrats are losing Hispanics, they're losing blacks, they're losing white voters, and they can't get the youth vote out. So they bring in Matthew McConaughey in the hopes that he can appeal to suburban white women. That's the real reason why Matthew McConaughey is being brought out. Women love Matthew McConaughey. That's the reason why they're bringing him out. This is desperation time for the Democrats, and they feel like they need to get something done. And me personally, I think this entire ordeal is going to blow up in their face, and I'll go ahead and explain why. Additional measures that they put forward included a magazine ban, included banning certain types of magazines. It also included, it actually included a national red flag law system, which, by the way, is extremely dangerous on its own. Not to mention, we already had kind of a Fourth Amendment case ruling on that, I think last year, where I think that pretty much shut it down. So, once again, something that's absolutely unconstitutional. They also had in there a language of expanded background checks, where they were going to include the juvenile records to go along with actual young buyers, which, by the way, I think is a bit of a stretch because, look, here's the thing. Just because you may have been a bad seed when you were 16 or 17 years old does not mean you're going to be a bad seed when you're 25. People do grow out of these habits. And once again, it's just completely unempathetic, and it's an invasion of your privacy. Of course, you see Tammy Duckworth here wants the AR-15 ban in this tweet, which, by the way, this is the main reason why I think this entire ordeal will fail. And like I said, there's 10 rhinos here that we need to primary out, but I'll explain the rhinos towards the end of this video. But here's the thing we have to kind of look at here. They went from 7 down to 2. Now, this right here is also explained in much more broader effect in the Langley Outdoors Academy video. Okay, they went from 7 to 2. By the way, these two measures they want still aren't going to curb anything. They're not even going to help. They want the juvenile records, and then to go on top of that, they also want the age pulled up to 21 years old. I don't see how any one of these would have prevented anything like Uvalde, not to mention the fact that this poll that came out by the economist YouGov stated that roughly 62% of the people want the schools hardened. Also, something else too, more than 51% of the people believe that this issue is a mental health issue and not a gun issue. So it sounds to me like the American people themselves have kind of sort of changed their minds on gun control for the most part. And they've been changing their minds for a while. And I think 2020 was actually the biggest red pill. I mean, when you had all these riots go out there, people started buying guns up like crazy. And they realized that the cops may or may not be able to protect them sometime in the future. To that right there, a lot of brand new gun owners who did not realize that you had to have a background check before you bought a weapon, they kind of sort of got red pill on this issue when they went to the gun counter and figured out that they had to actually fill out an FFL form. Also, something else too, and I gotta say this right too, especially to some lefty who may comment in the comment section. Look, when you order a gun online, what happens is that gun is taken to the gun store of your choosing or the gun store of FedEx's choosing, which is normally in your neighborhood, near your house. You go in there, you look at the gun, you make sure you've paid for it and everything, the receipt, and then you do an FFL background check right there in the gun store. They don't just let you walk out the door with that gun. So no, you can't just go online and get a gun and expect to just get it without a background check. Background checks are done right there. Once again, another lie that's perpetuated by our media. Guys, here's the reason why I personally don't think this bill will succeed. This is the reason why I'm a little bit skeptical of it. You see, a lot of times Democrats go to the table demanding a lot of stuff. Now, if they get worked down to about like 2 out of like 7 provisions, which is, by the way, they want And by the way, I still don't like these provisions at all. I mean, you should continue to fight for your Second Amendment rights at all times. And you guys are seeing in the Supreme Court that they're actually expanding our rights. This is one of the main reasons why I think they're pushing for this, because even after Uvalde, the common sense proposal, what the American people want, as I've already explained before, is that they want the schools to be hardened. They don't really truly want gun control, most of the people. And by the way, they keep screaming democracy. And of course, you've got a majority vote saying, no, we don't want any gun control. We want the schools hardened. They're doing this crap right here because the Supreme Court is expanding our actual gun rights themselves. The thing is this right here, though. Democrats always demand too much. And I would not be surprised if during the actual vote itself, they did not try to slip in one or two more things, causing 3 or 4 of the so-called rhinos to actually back out, saying, okay, well, this right here was too far for me. Now, like I said, these rhinos have got to go, and I'll explain their situation very, very shortly, because it's actually quite sad, and I can only scream 2 words: term limits. Term limits need to kind of sort of go into go into effect. We need those. But this right here is the thing. Democrats always push the issue and go way too far. Okay, you've got them all screaming on Twitter right now saying this right here is not far enough. This right here is not far enough for us. We want a ban. We want this. We want that right there. They're screaming and hollering way too much. As a matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if the Democrats themselves did not filibuster this bill. By the way, this bill cannot get passed with a simple majority. It's got to be 60 votes. That is what happens. Legislation takes 60 votes, not 51. The mainstream media has conditioned people into believing that 51 votes, a simple majority, gets things done. No. That's only for Supreme Court justices and budgets, tax cuts, things like that right there. Everything else requires 60 actual votes. Guys, here's where I'm going to end this video at. Now, like I said before, I'm skeptical this entire thing will go through, but then again, though, if it goes through, you guys can roast me in the comments all you want. I'm a big boy. I can take the criticism and go right ahead and do it. But here's the deal. These rhinos need to be primaried, or they should have been primaried a long time ago. Some of these senators that I think are actually voting in favor of this bill, we'll take Richard Burr real quick out of my state of North Carolina. Okay, he is retiring in 2022. Bob Portman out of Ohio, he's probably going to vote on this bill, retiring in 2022. A lot of these guys that are voting in favor of this bill are retiring. John Cornyn is not going to be gone until 2026. Mitch McConnell's not going to be gone until 2026. Now, guys, really quick, Mitch McConnell, I'm not a fan of, but let me just go ahead and tell you really quick, Mitch is slippery. He's slippery. It would not surprise me if Mitch said no to it. But then again, though, it is Mitch McConnell. He is a turtle. You can't entirely trust him. But just be on the lookout for that. Lindsey Graham retires in 2026. Friggin' Pat Toomey retires in 2022. A lot of these senators, a lot of these GOP senators, they're about to retire, and some of them, quite frankly, you can't get rid of until 2026 anyways. A lot of them are about to kick us in the freaking balls on the way out the door. This right here is the biggest reason why I think these rhinos are doing this, meaning that they never actually had your interests, or they never had the Constitution in mind. They never had your welfare, your actual being, your rights, your freedom on their mind. They had their paychecks on their mind, and not your actual rights. There you have it, guys. This gun control bill and using Matthew McConaughey to virtue signal is quite frankly pretty daggone cheap. Okay, I understand that it's 2 things that quite frankly that they're agreeing to. They're agreeing to increasing the age to buy a weapon, and of course they're increasing to an expanded background check. Either way, I still think it's quite frankly extremely unempathetic, especially the fact that most people will learn to shoot at a very, very young age. Now, I do believe that a lot of these people right here that quite frankly are doing these school shootings, which by the way, I'll be discussing that in the school shooter video this week, which will come out on Thursday. I'll discuss that a lot of these shooters are actually being indoctrinated with left-wing ideology. Now, Heavy Duty Country just made a video on this right about Ethan Klein and his threat on the NRA, which by the way, I made a video and then took it down because it just got buried in the algorithm, and they also hit me with the copyright claims. So I just went and took it off. A lot of these young people are getting this stuff from very, very left-wing ideology. They're not getting it from right-wing ideology. Let's go ahead and just kind of go through the list of the shooters. Okay, let's just go ahead and go through this. The Ohio shooter, the one that was a big-time Elizabeth Warren fan, obviously left-wing. This person was a Satanist. The guy who did the El Paso shooting, this guy right here's MyLife.com page, stated that he was a Bernie bro. Okay, now they kept on claiming that he was right-wing, but why the hell did he have a Bernie bro page? Okay, so we can't really say anything. It looks more to me like more of a leftist ideal right there. By the way, the white supremacy angle comes more from the left, which, by the way, I'll be explaining that there on the Claymore channel in a later on video, probably Saturday. I want to go ahead and get that out of the way. There's another thing, too, that you have to understand. The one who shot the congressional ball game, Steve Scalise, this shooter, he was a left-winger. The Buffalo shooter turned out to be a left-winger. Most of these shooters are actually coming from the left, and I think a lot of them are being influenced by left-wing YouTube content creators. I just wanted to go through and throw that out there. Now, guys, That video is going to be coming out either Thursday or Friday, either one of those 2 days right there. I'm working on that video. The script's already done, but I'll have that video out. And it will also be on this channel, Short Timer Prepping, which is about to be called Gear Issue 33. And it will also be on John Claymore, my main social commentary channel, which, by the way, I will be leaving a link to in the description box or the comment section of this video here. Guys, if you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign off in the comment section, and I'll see you guys later.
Oh, no, you don't. I wanted my children to remember this gun foolishness.
And leave.